Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of YouTubes. Right, it's been a few weeks since Silverstone. It's been on the trailer. I haven't taken it off since. I've been away on holiday, but now I'm back. I've got 3 weeks, just over 3 weeks, to get this prepared for the next races, which is at Oulton Park on the 5th of August. So yeah, we're just going to get in and get on with it, make sure everything's okay. Obviously before Silverstone we had a few issues, i.e. the oil didn't look too good, and that was about it. I think it was, yeah, it's just the oil that we had concerns of, water in the oil. But after tightening down the head bolts another 90 degrees and changed the oil, it seems to be fine. As I say, we put it on the trailer at Silverstone and I've only just taken it off. So I'm going to let it sit here for a couple of days over the weekend, and then I'm going to drain the oil to see what it looks like. We'll test it on the dipstick anyway and just check the coolant to make sure that's all good. I think it is. But at Silverstone it performed faultlessly. The only thing that I had which was a little bit uneasy was the back end was shaking down the straights at like over 90 miles an hour. The back end would start wobbling about at qualifying and race 2. Race 1 seemed okay. I didn't really notice it in race 1. So we're going to check that. So we've got the oil to check, the alignment to check, all the bolts to check. Again, after qualifying, after noticing that wheel wobble, I did do a bolt check on the floor just to make sure everything was good, and that seemed okay. But we'll get on the ramp and have a good look around it. And also, we've got some damage to front wings. So we've got that one there, and on the other, same on the other side as well. Well, I think it's just the tyre's just caught the wing going around the corner, and it's just pulled the wing out. So we're going to have to cut them down, hammer them back in, cut them down, so like almost do a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to order some fiberglass wings to go onto here. But all it is, when you go around the corner and you hit a bump around the corner, so obviously just the tire just picked up the wing and bent it round. So plan of action is I'm going to get the strings on it first and foremost once it's down, so the suspension's not been lifted up or anything like that, so it's fresh off the track. We will check it with the strings to make sure everything is fine alignment wise. Yeah, just to make sure the back end, because the back end was a bit floaty and wobbly down the straights, as I said. So we just want to make sure that's all in line. Do that, check the oil, sort the wing out, and that should be good to go. You know, we'll do a bolt check and all that sort of stuff, obviously. Oh, I've got the bleed nipples for the front calipers now as well. So we might stick them in and do a brake bleed and the clutch bleed. Just so they're done again. Yeah, so first of all, we'll check the dipstick and the coolant, see what that's like. We'll chuck the strings on it, see what the alignment's doing, and then we'll get it up in the air. We'll hammer the arches around a little bit, and probably we'll get the grinder on them and trim them down a little bit as well, I reckon. Yeah, oh, and the other thing I need to do is I need to replace this cable here, because as you can see that's broken off, because that was like that, and I put the bonnet down and it just went twang and can't come off. So that's another thing we've got to do, is to replace the electrical cable. So let's get the boot lid off and check the oil and water, and then we'll get the strings on all set up, and we'll check that alignment. Alright, just checking the oil. As you can see, that is perfectly clear. Not a drop of water in there. You see where I've wiped it as well. Lovely and golden colour. So that's all good. The coolant looks good, although there is a little bit of black sludge around. And if you look, I don't know if I can get it in there, you can see there's a small film of oil on the top of the oil, which I'm going to guess is where the head wasn't tightened down properly, and that just that just obviously leaked a little bit of oil into the coolant bottle, and it's discoloured the bottle as well, because that was a pretty good bottle. So I think what I might do is order myself a new bottle, but I'm going to order one with a coolant level sensor in it, with the coolant level kit, and I'm going to put an alarm on the dash just in case I do lose my coolant. I've got something before the temperature starts to rise, that there's something wrong basically, instead of knack on another engine out, because once these lose coolant, you get no warning. One time it's perfectly just below the halfway level, and then next second that's right up into the red, especially at race speeds anyway. So I'm going to order one of them, and then we'll get that all fitted in, and that should be good. As I say, the oil's perfect. That cap's absolutely fine. I'm not going to bother taking the other cap off, but I will drain the oil. We'll drain it into a nice clean tub. But what I'm looking out for is after it's sat here for a few days, obviously the water's going to separate to the bottom. So once I take that drain plug off, the first couple of seconds is going to be water if there's an issue. If not, then we'll drain it into a nice clean tub, inspect the oil, and then if it's good oil, then we'll stick it back in. If not, we'll just sacrifice another 50-60 quid worth of oil and just put it in basically. But I bought plenty of oil for this season, so I bought 6 jugs of 5 litres of the Miller's racing oil. So I don't know how many I've got left. I've got a jug and a half there, and I think I've got another 2 jugs in the office. So yeah, right. Next thing is, let's get the strings on it. Let's check the alignment and see if there's anything untoward there to why it was shaking down the straights. Right, strings are on. I've taken the measurements, and it's not looking too bad, to be honest with you. It's a little bit out for what I've set it to. So this is what we've got. So I've got this wheel towing out 4 mil, this wheel towing in 1 mil, which should be towing out 1 mil, that should be towing out 1 mil. So I've got 3 mil total out at the moment, and then I've got neutral here, and I've got 1 mil tow in, so this should be towing 1 mil. And the only thing that looks a little bit suspect is the camber on this wheel. That should be 2.9, the same as that one, and that's actually 3.3. So we're going to have a look at that. These are all spot on. I think I set them to 3.5 at the rear. So yeah, to only be 0.1 of a degree out, it isn't too bad. So when we adjust this toe in a little bit, that'll probably change a bit as well, just because of how it's set up. But yeah, we're going to have to investigate that, to why that is that far out. 0.4 of a degree is a a bit too much to what I set it to, because I've got the Mike Satur upper arm camber adjustment kit on this, and I think that was only like 2.9 as the maximum I could get. So why all of a sudden it's gone to 3.3, I don't know. So yeah, I'm just going to whip these strings back off. We're going to get up in the air, and we are going to do a little bit of investigation, see if there's anything untoward, and have a look at these wheel arches, see if we can do something with that. Another thing I forgot to mention as well, when I took it off the trailer, there was a little bit of a puddle of oil, only about like the size of, I don't know, an inch circle, so about the size of a centre cap really, and that was under this driver's side front wheel. So I just need, again, when they take the wheel off, we'll just investigate that to see if it isn't anything untoward, like a leaking brake line or anything like that. I don't feel like it's got a leak brake line, but we'll just double check. But I know that the upper arms on these, the Mike Satur upper arms, are an oil light brass bearing, so it could be that's just a little bit of oil just leaked past the seal on that, which ain't no issue. We'll just put a little bit more oil in it, and we'll go again. Right, let's get the strings off, and then we'll whip the wheels off and see what we can find. Right, got it all up in the air now, just checking things over. I did find an issue, I'll get my torch, with, I believe, what's causing the wobble on the back. We've got that upper arm bush, I can zoom you in, that one there, that bolt, that main bolt was loose. So I've tightened it up, should be 100 Newton meters. Literally I can get a spanner on it, and with hardly any effort at all could turn the nut on that. So I'm pretty sure that's what's causing my wobble at high speed. So yeah, I've tightened them both up now. One was significantly looser than the other, but just do both out of precaution really. Again, checked all the nuts and bolts on the back here and the front as well, just so I know it's all good. And the oil leak that I saw on my trailer, if I can get you in there, you can see it's, I'll zoom in again, all underneath that arm is, I wouldn't say soaking wet, but it's damp. So I think it's just the oil that's passed through on the actual seals itself. I couldn't see anything in regard to why the camber has moved, so I'll just keep checking that. Everything again is tight. I've done all the bolt check on it, so the only thing that's going to have any effect on the camber is the upper arm or the bottom arm, but again they're all tight. So yeah, we'll just keep plugging on. And the other side, I've just hammered the wing back in with a panel beating hammer. So I'm gonna cut that lip off and then hammer it back round again, so it's, hopefully it won't happen again basically. Right, let me just have another look at these this camber issue on the front here. If I see anything, I'll come back to you. If not, then assume all is good and we just need to make an adjustment. But I will have to take that, there's like a blanket plug in where the grease nipple used to go in that arm. I will have to take it out and just top that up with oil anyway, so we'll do that as well. And we'll get on and straighten this panel out as well. Right, let's crack on. Right, we've made some adjustments to the wing itself. We've cut a little bit off, probably about 15 mil. We've cut off it, and then just filed it down. And I've just taken the panel beating hammer, and I've just rounded what was left of that lip over, so it's like more of a curved edge than a sharp edge, if it makes sense. As you can see, I've cracked the paint in several places. I've hammered it over, and there was a little bit of filler on the inside of this lip here as well, on the back edge there. And you can see that's had a wing repair, or blow in at some point. But I think what I'll do is I'll get some fiberglass wings, and I'll get them painted up and ready to bolt on if we need to. The only reason why I haven't gone fiberglass to begin with is that I want to keep weight on the front end, because obviously when you go over 70-80 miles an hour, these got suffer from front end lift anyway. So you try and keep as much weight in at the front, and also there isn't really that much difference in the front wings compared to the fiberglass ones. I think it's like 0.2 of a kilo maybe. So I'll probably only be saving like half a kilo on both front wings. So I didn't really think that'd be much of a benefit at this moment in time, until we're chasing down some of the fast people anyway. But yeah, that's all done. We've, as I say, we've cut this lip off, we've hammered it over. So if it catches again, they ain't going to eat into the tyre because it's a nice smooth lip. So yeah, we'll crack on, we'll do the other sides. Hopefully that'll be a little bit easier. And then we'll move on. I think we'll put some new bleed nibbles in and start bleeding the brakes and clutch out. Right, that's the other wing done. I'll take you over to that in a minute, but I'll just show you the bit that I cut off. Lovely bit of fiberglass filler. So we had a little bit of rot in that wing at some point. You can see it, just not the greatest, I can tell you that much. But pretty much the same aspect. Just cut the lip off and then just hammer it around, as you say. See, it's not the nicest job in the world. It's all the paint is cracked where I've hammered it and I've stressed the paint. But as I say, we'll get some nice fiberglass wings on here, ready for next season, I reckon. You can see where we've had the little bit of rot in here. Look, it's a little bit flimsy. Oh, a little bit of filler just fell out, but it's very soft there. But that will do for this season anyway. It's just to stop the tyre from catching, and then we'll chuck on some new wings into next season. What else have we done? Got some of these nipple adapters now. So these calipers, aluminium caliper, steel bleed nipple, have a tendency of the nipple snapping off inside the caliper. So you use these sacrificial, almost like banjo fittings that screws in with a copper washer. So you'll never have to take the steel bit out of the aluminium bit. So it's now steel on steel. I don't think they're stainless. I think they're like a mild steel, zinc plated. I don't think you can get stainless ones. I did have a look, but this is the only ones that I could find. From Big Red they do these kits. So yeah, because we're after every race we're bleeding the brakes. Not after every race, but after every race meeting, we're bleeding the brakes. So the last thing I want to do is snap the nipple off into this, because then the caliper's pretty much scrap, and these 4 parts are getting quite hard to come across now. So yeah, we'll just put that bit in there, save the caliper really. So yeah, I just got to do the other side. So these are the nipples. I'll say when you crack that off, it can snap the thread off inside the caliper. So we'll crack on. We'll just get these other two nipples done, and then we'll get on and bleed all the brakes, all new fluid, and we'll do the clutch as well. Right, we're just bleeding the clutch. I've got a pressure bleeder thing that goes onto the master cylinder itself. Just pressurise up to like 12 psi. Unfortunately, we can't use it for the brakes because I haven't got an adapter for this. I think Gunston, they do a little rubber cone that goes in there, and then you clamp it down, and that's enough. But I'd normally get someone to come and help me. But with a clutch, I pressure bleed these because they can be a little bit of a nightmare to get all the air out. And I've got a remote bleed nipple here, which is literally some braided brake line that goes onto the bleed nipple of the mass or the sleigh cylinder, and then it's just got a little bleed nipple here, and then we can just crack that off and let that drip into a cup. So we'll change the fluid. It takes about 1 litre, I think it is. So we'll just do like half a litre on here, because we're only just taking out what's in the line basically, because that's where all the heat generates, is this back part of the line where it goes around near the exhaust. Yeah, you don't really get any heat at the master cylinder, but we'll bleed that. I'll put 1 litre in the actual pressure bleeder itself. So we'll just drip that out until that comes through a little bit clear, because as you can see, it's a little bit on the yellowy side, and the Miller's 300 plus brake fluid is almost clear. There's a little yellow tinge to it, but it is mainly all clear. Yeah, so we'll just let that come through a little bit, probably about half a litre. I'll bleed it through, and then we'll get on with the brakes, and hopefully I can get someone in just to help me bleed do the old brake pedal and push the old fluid through. Alright, so that's the clutch and the brakes all bled. Just got my mate to pump your pedal or pump some fluid through. Pumped about, again, another half a litre through, so we've done half a litre on the clutch and half a litre on the brakes. Yeah, could have gone a little bit more on the brakes, to be honest with you, but all the heat is generated at the actual caliper rather than in the master cylinder itself. So just bleed out as much as we can. I do it after every race meeting anyway, so yeah, just out of precaution more than anything. And the other thing I did is I put some cable ties around the actual master cylinder bottle as well, because it's only pushed in some rubber grommets, so it just stops that from falling out under heavy braking, which I've been told can happen. Not on Fs, but on vehicles in general. You normally see race cars with some cable ties around a master cylinder bottle, so I thought I'd just do the same, just to be on the safe side. So I guess the next thing to do is to drain the oil out of it and see what that looks like. I've ordered a pull cable for the cut-off, and I've ordered a replacement coolant bottle. I'm not going to go for the sensor version as yet. I'll just get a new bottle, but I've got the bottle with the provisions of a sensor, so then all we need to do is to put the wiring in for, basically. But I'll probably get that done after the season, coming into 2024 season. So let's get it up in the air, let's drain the oil and see what that looks like. Right, nice clean white bucket. Right, so just taking off the magnetic sump plug. That'll focus in. There we go. Absolutely nothing on that. Maybe the smallest bit of sludge, but more than acceptable, that is. So we're just going to clean that up, stick that back in, and then we'll have a quick look at the oil. Right, as you can see, sorry about the flickering, but there is no traces of water in that oil whatsoever. There's no shimmering or anything really. It's just really nice. No milkiness. Yeah, a little bit dark considering it's fresh oil, but I think I'd expect that, being that it's had a little bit of water in it, and obviously we didn't flush out the oil cooler, so yeah, at race temperatures at Silverstone, 120 degrees, 130 degrees, that should have burnt all the water off anyway, and that's like that goes out of the at the top through the breather system, so yeah, that should have dissipated. So yeah, I'm more than happy with that. I think out of caution, I'm just going to change the oil anyway. Chuck a new filter on. Filter's like £4. It's the oil that's more expensive, you know, talking like, I think it's about £55 for a 5 litre thing of Miller's 1050 race spec oil. So yeah, just because it's a little bit dark, I'm just going to chuck in another jug of oil, and hopefully that will see me through the next 3 race meetings. Now we've got this under control. Right, so let's get some oil in it, and then we'll move on to the next job. Right, oil's in, again topped up just above maximum, just so it's got a little bit of leeway if it sloshes about. What else have I done? I've adjusted this window, because where I put the door on, the used door, because of the lack of peel in the last couple of videos ago, when I fitted the window into the door, drilled the holes to the door, this sat down about ½ an inch, so I had a ½ inch air gap all along this top bit here, and that was catching the fiberglass hood. So I've just adjusted that, so it all fits nicely. And the only other thing I've been doing, when I started doing this tyre here, is I've just been cleaning all the pickup off using the old heat gun method. Again, I've shown this in previous videos. Let's have a look at this one here. This is one I haven't done. This one ain't too bad, but you can see all the pickup on it. The front ones get a lot worse than the back ones for some reason. Let's get to the other front one. Yeah, on the inside edge here, just loads of it. So just clean it up with your heat gun with a scraper attachment. Right, so I've got the other 3 wheels due, and then I'm literally waiting on parts for the T-pull handle for the electric cut-off and the coolant bottle. Once I've got them, it's then just to realign it and all will be good. So we'll pick you back up again in the next couple of days. Alright, there we go. We are at the end of the video now, as much as what I'm going to do for now on the video. As you can see, nice new T-pull handle on there. That's a Greyston's one. It came with a sleeve, but I don't need to replace the sleeve. So it's just a case of pulling the old one out and feeding the new one in. Nice and easy. The only thing that the Greyston ones don't come with is the ends for the cable. So you get the main cable here, and it's got a locating sleeve in it, so the handle don't move, to avoid what I've done here, basically closing the bonnet when the handle is like that. And I was thinking about putting the sleeve in, but I just need to be aware of that for the future. So yeah, nice and simple, just feed the cable in and just put the nipple on the end, but you don't get the metal part of the cable at the end, at the other end. I'll show you on the other side. So where that metal bit comes through, you don't get that metal bit on the end of the cable, and you don't get the little nipple to tie it to secure it to the actual battery cutoff itself. But you get a full sleeve and to get the cable, and it's only the cable that I'm really worried about, because the only bits that really break and seize, to be honest with you. This is the old one. I'll get rid of that now. You can see the damage on that, just sheared off. And this is a brand, well, I say brand new, it's like less than 6 months old, Lifeline one. So just got sun damaged and just closed the bonnet on it. So mistakes happen, unfortunately. I've got 2 spares, so we'll keep them with us just in case one seizes miraculously. Because I had that last season as well, where one cable seized. By not checking them before the season, I got to the first race after the car sat there for a number of months, and yeah, I couldn't pull the emergency cut off on the outside. So yeah, I had to go back and take it out, grease it up and put it back in as a temporary fix for that race. But anyway, that's done. Got a brand new coolant bottle on there, topped off with some coolant. I always renew the coolant every time I drop it out anyway, so the coolant's like brand new. New genuine cap. They're not, that's why I'll say genuine is next part one, so they got the genuine rights for things, but you can see on this one here where it's got the nipple, and this one here hasn't got the nipple on the middle of it. So yeah, that's all done. Oil filter change, just out of precaution. There's nothing wrong with the oil. Looked a little bit dark, but that's nothing out of the ordinary. But we just changed it because of the problems that we had last time, just to try and eliminate all the water inside the oil system. I mean, there was so little in there anyway. It's just the engine temperatures, the oil temperatures. They run at about 120 during race anyway, so it should be enough to evaporate all the oil from the oil and all the water from the oil anyway. So yeah, that is all done. Got all the brakes and clutch bled. Got our nice shiny easy bleed nipples on there. I'll say easy bleed nipples, they're more of an anti-fuck up solution really. Saves shearing a nipple off inside the caliper. So that's all done. The only thing I have got to do is I've got to remove one of the twos, because at Silverstone we was racing a mixed grid with another championship, and there was already a number 2, so I had to put an extra number 2, but I can remove that now for the next race. I've just got to do the alignment, so I've done that you've seen me do that in the past anyway. So hopefully I can borrow next door's ramp with the floating plates. They got a proper alignment rack over there. So hopefully I can use that to properly dial in, because last time I was just on like bin bags on the floor. So hopefully I can blag an hour on the, well, not even an hour, probably about half an hour it'll take to adjust it. It's more setting all that up. But if I hang that on the car and then drive it around, then all I have to do is then just finally tweak the strings and get that all done. So hopefully I can blag half an hour on their ramp just to dial that in 100%. And that's it, just give it a clean really. There's a few tyre marks on and a few bugs on the front. So we'll get all that cleaned off, and that's going to be ready for the 5th of August at Oulton Park. So yeah, I'm going to leave this video here and just assume this is all done, ready to race at Oulton Park. So I've got another thing to try on the camera setup. I'm going to bin off the remote, and when I'm in the holding area ready to go out, I'm just going to click record, and that's going to record 10-15 minutes before I want it to record, but I can edit all that out anyway. So yeah, we'll click record just so that we don't have any mishaps with the recording. And I've now got an external mic as well that attaches to the GoPro Media Mod, so hopefully we'll have a little bit better internal audio as well. So that's enough rambling. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you at Oulton Park next time we are in this car.